that it just wasn't aggressive enough. I don't understand why. Although I did have the claws. Never mind. No, I've never gotten to do that voice since, before or since. I was surprised that they let me do it in the first place. I actually came for Gurren Lagann. I came in to read for other parts, including Kamina and some of the roles. But I saw the sides for Leron, and I saw the picture of the character, and I said, "Who's that?" They said, "Oh, that's not for you." And I said, "No, can I just see it? Can I try it? Can I try out for it?" And they said, "I don't think that'd be a good idea." No, I don't think so. They knew me. They would always hire me for really tough, very, very masculine kind of roles. And I said, "I really want to read for this." They said, "Well, what would you do with it?" And the first thing I saw in there was, "Screw it in, give it a hard, manly twist." And they went, "Oh." It was the Japanese client who was in the room at the time. "Whoa, so good, okay. Call back."
Oh my God.
So I was surprised that I booked it. I thought that I had just offended everybody in the room. It was one of the most fun things I ever got to do. And Tony Oliver directed that show. You guys are probably familiar with this, where Tony's brilliant. He's a brilliant director, brilliant actor, singer, he does everything. And my goal became to make Tony squirm as much as possible. He's a very conservative guy and very professional in the booth. And I would just say, as wrong as things turned out in that show, it was much worse in the booth. I recorded duplicate lines for basically everything that ever made it to screen. It was 10 times worse. And so Tony, I would just say something and I just see Tony go, "Oh, I gotta go wash. I need a minute." And he would call for more breaks than I would. So, achievement unlocked. Thank you. Hi.
Howdy. Before I ask my question, I just wanted to say, love Wolverine. My favorite Wolverine line's gotta be. What's that?
I said, "Thanks, Blum."
My favorite Wolverine line's gotta be Swiss cheese, by far. My question is, if you could pick any one character that you voiced to hang out with for a day, who would it be and why?
Leron. He's awesome. He's awesome. Leron's awesome. And he could fix my car.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. I hang out with all of them every day. They're all in here. So I don't need to go anywhere. I'm so happy by myself. It's just a party going on right now.
Hey there, Steve.
Wow, you're on the radio. Where are you from?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I've been a big fan of your work for a long time, and I wanted to talk specifically about your work in Peace Walker. There were a few scenes in there, because everyone's familiar with David Hayter's voice. It's, deep, gravelly, and I felt like you really matched his presence in that game as Zadornov. So I was just wondering what it was like working on that, and sort of what you did to differentiate the character of Zadornov from the big boss.
No,
in terms of voice.
Well, I just did me. That was basically my own voice, if I remember right.
I'm so shaky.
Galvez, I think they called him. Yeah. So he had a few names, I think. Yeah, the same guy. But I had worked several times with David in the booth. I worked on several incarnations of the game, and I kind of knew where his voice print was. So I just kind of did my own thing. He actually brings it way down here, and he kind of forces it down a little bit. And I just spoke like I normally speak, and it worked out really well. And we could have almost been brothers because of the timbre of our voices, and I knew that going in. So if sometimes I did get a little bit too close to him, they would play me a little bit of a vocal reference, and I could pitch it one way or the other to differentiate. But it really wasn't a worry, because we're distinct enough where people can recognize the difference.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
It's a little too high for me, sorry.
It happens for me all the time, man. I say it every day. Wait, what? What are we talking about?
Hi, I'm Corey, we met earlier.
We did meet earlier. Hi.
I had a quick question about screaming or yelling lines.
Yes.
In the booth. So that you don't hurt your voice, is there something you could kind of tell me to help with those kinds of lines?
Yes, don't do it. Honestly, that's really the best advice I could give you is screaming I have to limit now. I won't do sessions more than 2 hours that involve screaming. Just because back in the old days, especially when I was non-union, they could make me scream as long as they wanted to, and people have literally lost their voice permanently. and I don't want that. And you can get polyps, there's all sorts of things that you can get from screaming, and a lot of people refuse to do it entirely. I've been blessed and able to do it, I've been able to maintain doing that, and I made a really good living off of being the guy that can scream. But it does take a toll, and when you're screaming, at least for me as a very physical actor, I'm using my entire body, so it's not just the throat, but it's the lungs, it's the muscles of the whole upper carriage of the body that can suffer from that. Muscle spasms in the neck and shoulders, because you can go like that. So really the only thing you can do is not do it as much, or you also have to learn how to control your breathing. That will help to some degree, but if you're screaming, you're going to hurt yourself at some point. So the only thing I can recommend if you have to do that for a job is make sure that you get lots of sleep the night before, lots of sleep the night after, drink a lot of water, and there's all sorts of vocal remedies that will really help. There's steroids if you have to go that far, but I use these little throat drops called Golden Throat. It's a Chinese herbal, all-natural thing. And I just pop one of those in my mouth, and it eases some of the pain during the session, but really it's just vocal rest after the fact. So the best advice, if you're sensitive to that at all, just don't do it, because you can really hurt yourself.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.